So, let me tell you a story that completely changed how I see money. It's about a guy who had two dads. One was his real dad. His real dad was super smart, PhD, government job. Even with a good salary, he seemed to be struggling with bills. He would say, "I can't afford that." He believed the love of money is the root of all evil. He always told his son to study hard, get good grades, find a safe, secure job with benefits. This was his poor dad, poor in mindset. On the other hand, his best friend's dad never finished 8th grade, but he became one of the richest men in Hawaii. Rich dad thought differently. He'd ask, "How can I afford that?" He believed lack of money was the root of all evil. He taught them not to work for money your whole life, but to make money work for you. This mindset shift was the foundation for everything that followed. It wasn't about paychecks, it was about philosophy. Both dads loved him and wanted him to succeed. They just had different roadmaps. Poor dad's classic path: go to school, get a good job, buy a house, save a little, hope for the best. It's the safe route, job security above all. Rich dad called it the rat race, working to pay bills with no path to freedom. A high-paying job doesn't necessarily make you rich. This contrast is powerful. Two different beliefs lead to different outcomes. Now, let's get into one of the biggest problems out there. We go to school for 12 years, maybe even more if you go to college. And what do they teach us? We learn about history, we learn about science, we learn how to write essays. But when does anyone ever sit us down for a class called How Money Actually Works 101? It just doesn't happen. Our schools are designed to create good employees, not good employers or smart investors. The school system was created during the industrial age. Its purpose was to train a workforce for factories and offices. It needed people who would show up on time, follow instructions, and do their assigned tasks without asking too many questions. It wasn't designed to create a generation of independent, free-thinking entrepreneurs. Financial education is the language of the rich, and it's a language that the system doesn't want the masses to speak. If everyone knew how to build wealth independently, who would be left to work the 9-to-5 jobs that keep the economy running? People finish school, get a job, and start earning money. But because they don't understand how money works, they immediately start making financial mistakes. They get into credit card debt, they take out huge car loans, and they buy a house that's way too expensive. They become slaves to their paychecks, trapped in a cycle of earning and spending. So the big lesson here is that you have to take your financial education into your own hands. You have to be proactive. All right, this next part is so simple, but it is literally the most important financial lesson you will ever learn. If you get this one thing right, you are already ahead of 90% of the population. Rich Dad's #1 rule was this: you must know the difference between an asset and a liability. And then you must buy assets. It sounds super basic, right? But here's the thing. Most people, even adults with good jobs, have no idea what the real difference is. Let's break it down with a super simple definition. An asset is something that puts money in your pocket. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. That's it. It's that simple. So let's think about a rental property that you own. Every month, your tenant pays you rent. After you pay the mortgage taxes and any repairs, there's money left over. That leftover money goes into your pocket. Therefore, that rental property is an asset. Now, let's look at the other side. Let's talk about the house you live in. Every single month, you have to pay the mortgage, you have to pay property taxes, you have to pay for insurance, you have to pay for repairs when the water heater breaks or the roof leaks. Money is constantly flowing out of your pocket to maintain this house. So, is it an asset? No. According to this definition, it's a liability. The same goes for your car. You have a car payment, insurance, gas, and maintenance. It is a massive liability. The core strategy of the rich is to spend their lives acquiring assets. They use the income from their jobs or businesses to buy things that will generate even more income. They buy real estate stocks, bonds, or build businesses. The cash flow from these assets then pays for their lifestyle and their liabilities. This is a huge mindset shift that separates the wealthy from everyone else. Poor dad always said, "Study hard so you can find a good company to work for." Rich dad said, "Study hard so you can find a good company to buy." The vast majority of people are taught to follow a simple formula. trade their time for money. They work 40 hours a week, and in return, they get a paycheck. The rich, however, understand that your time is your most valuable resource, and there are only 24 hours in a day. You can't work more than that. Instead, they focus on creating or buying systems that generate money independently of their time. This is what it means to have your money work for you. Think about it like this. You can spend an hour chopping wood to sell for $20, or you can spend that same hour planting a tree. For a long time, that tree does nothing. But eventually it grows and produces fruit every single year, whether you're there or not. The rich are planting orchards while everyone else is chopping wood. Let's use a real-world example. An employee works all year and saves up $10,000. That's great, but that money is just sitting in a bank account, probably losing value to inflation. A person with a rich mindset takes that same $10,000 and invests it in a dividend-paying stock index fund. Let's say that fund pays a 4% dividend. That means they will get $400 a year every year just for owning it. It's like they hired their money to go out and work for them. They didn't have to trade any extra hours for that $400. Their money did the work. This concept is called passive income. This is the ultimate goal. The moment your passive income from your assets is greater than your monthly expenses, you are financially free. This is why the rich get richer. It becomes a powerful, self-perpetuating cycle of wealth creation. Let's be real for a second. For 99% of people, a regular 9-to-5 job is not going to make you wealthy. It can provide you with a steady paycheck. You can use that paycheck as seed money, a starting point. But the job itself is rarely the vehicle that will get you to financial freedom. Why? Because as an employee, your income potential is always capped. Your boss and the company determine your salary. You might get a 3% raise each year, barely keeping up with inflation. You are a cog in someone else's machine. They pay you just enough to keep you from leaving. This is where entrepreneurship and investing come in. When you own the business, you own the system. There is no cap on your income potential. If the business does well, you do well. Think about the owner of your local coffee shop. They might work hard, especially at the beginning, but they are not just getting paid for the hours behind the counter. They are getting paid for every coffee that every employee sells, 24/7. They created a system that makes money, and they get to keep the profits. Now, starting a business isn't for everyone. It's risky and hard. Many businesses fail. You can become an investor, which is like being a part owner of a business. When you buy a share of a company like Apple or Google, you are buying a tiny piece of that business. You are now a part owner. When that company succeeds and its profits grow, the value of your share grows too. You get to benefit from the hard work of thousands of employees and the brilliant ideas of its leaders, all without managing day-to-day. The key takeaway is to shift your mindset from just being a consumer and an employee to being an owner. Use your job to pay the bills and provide the initial capital, but then use that capital to buy or build assets. Start a small side hustle online, buy your first rental property, consistently invest a portion of your paycheck into the stock market. Your job is your short-term solution for income, but your investments and your business are your long-term solution for wealth. One of the most powerful ideas from Rich Dad is the importance of starting financial education at a very young age. Think about it. We don't wait until someone is an adult to teach them how to read or ride a bike. We start when they are kids. Their minds are like sponges. Good habits are easier to form early on. The same exact principle applies to money. If you can teach children the basic principles of assets, liabilities, making money work for them before they ever get their first credit card offer in the mail, you are giving them a massive head start in life. So how do you actually do this? You don't need to sit them down with spreadsheets and corporate finance textbooks. You make it a game. You make it practical. Rich Dad started teaching the boys by having them work for him for very little pay. This taught them that working for a low wage isn't the answer. He had them create a comic book library, charge other kids admission for them to read it. They were learning, hands-on, how to create an asset that generated passive income. They were learning about business marketing, managing money in a real-world scenario. You can do this with your own kids in simple ways. Instead of just giving them an allowance, create opportunities for them to earn money. More importantly, when they get that money, teach them what to do with it. A great method is the 3-jar system. 1 jar for saving, 1 for spending, 1 for investing or giving. You can even help them use their investing money to buy a single share of a company they like, such as Disney, such as McDonald's, so they can see how ownership works. Ultimately, the greatest gift you can give the next generation is financial literacy. By talking openly about money, explaining the difference between an asset and a liability, using their toys as examples, and encouraging their entrepreneurial spirit, you empower them. You break the cycle of passing down poor financial habits. By starting these conversations early, we can all be rich dads and rich moms, giving our kids the tools they need not just to survive, but to thrive financially. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel for more content like this.